you. What? What happened? What are you hearing?
Stunning news. I've called my resources to confirm. I got the statement from Fox News, so it's definitely out. This is a bombshell that no one saw coming. It's not clear. I don't believe that it is directly related to the Dominion settlement, but I will say that Tucker Carlson, in the run-up to the Dominion lawsuit, really flouted the corporate sort of goals and, was doing reports that really sort of many criticized as being misleading, which was the worst possible thing for a network that was trying to settle this massive lawsuit. So it could very well be that Tucker, kind of ran out of 9 lives, and after the settlement was resolved, they were like, he's too much of a pariah. He's too much of a danger to the network. Now, Tucker's got a huge audience, and he's made a ton of money. So I don't think it's the end of Tucker Carlson, but as we know it, but this is a big head to roll at Fox News. It could possibly signal not a shift to the middle, but a shift to more accountability.
Right. And I mean, the question being, Colby, on what grounds? I mean, all of us have contracts. So where was he at in his contract? And had there been any rumblings and indication behind the scenes that anything like this would happen to such a major personality?
My reporting tells me that, it came out in a lot of these hearings that the corporate communications team stopped working for Tucker. And I will say that the corporate communications team is very protective of every single person. The one person that they rarely sort of went out of their way to defend was Tucker, because he went hard. He went far right, and he said a lot of things that were, I think he thought of himself as kind of a comedian, and people saw him as news, but he said a lot of irresponsible things that were often like flatly racist, and they could not defend him. And so, the rumblings within was that he was a problem. I know a lot of top-tier talent who would not go on the record but had privately told me that they had real problems with the way that Tucker Carlson covered January 6th, for example, tried to dismiss it, tried to blame this guy Ray Epps as being an FBI informant, which he insists that he's not. Tucker did not hold himself to any accountability of accepted standards of journalism. He was an opinion host. But I think he ran out of allies. And his biggest ally was Rupert Murdoch, who was the Fox Corp CEO or chair, and Lachlan, his son, Lachlan Murdoch. And I believe that they realized that Tucker's stuff just wasn't worth the trouble anymore. He's no longer the top-rated show. The Five is their top-rated show. And I think, there's a cost-benefit analysis that they looked at and said, he's not necessarily worth it. You could put a grapefruit on TV at 8 o'clock in Fox News and it would rate well, just because you have so many people that tune in. But it's stunning. I have lots of calls into my Fox News people, and they're taking a lot of calls from reporters like me, so I don't really have any specifics other than to say that this is a stunning development.
Right. And I mean, some may wonder if it is part of a settlement.
Well, I would be shocked if that were the case. I don't think Dominion had that much juice to make that sort of request from, they couldn't get an on-air apology. I think that these two stories are likely adjacent to one another. We saw another thing yesterday. News broke over the weekend where the CEO of NBC Universal left immediately because it was revealed that he had an inappropriate relationship. So when, I spoke to top execs at Fox News on Friday, they keep their hands pretty close to their cards, pretty close to their vest. There was no indication that this was going to happen. So to me, this seems really sudden, like this was not part of a larger plan. But the real answer is this broke secretly. No one knew it. And the reporting is just now starting to emerge.
Right. And what about Fox News viewers? I mean, fans of Tucker Carlson, talk about having the rug ripped from out out from under you. I mean, his last day on the air was last Friday, right? So they didn't even have a chance to absorb this. Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, that's HR rule number one. Like, if someone is leaving a company, that's why people get escorted out, because there's the chance that toxic sort of individual who's leaving could say or do things that would sort of hurt the environment. He had a huge platform, the 8 p.m. hour on Fox News, so who knows what he would have said. You know, Tucker's kind of a nihilist. Like, he's more like Jon Stewart than he is Walter Cronkite. He loves to say things that, you know, he looks at a list of what's the most controversial thing that he's not supposed to talk about, and he goes after that. And that's why he curries so much media coverage, or media coverage in general, is because he loves to sort of sit at the back of the classroom and throw spitballs, so to speak.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.